Yes, you will. That's right. It's Orville Season 3, Episode 2, Shadow Realms Review. That's right. We're here on Live Long and Podcast, broadcasting from pretty much everybody's basement except for Dave.
Yeah, I'm upstairs, I guess.
But we're all freezing in our basements here in Canada because that's just the way we do things. But anyway, you know why we're here, gentlemen?
I do know why we're here.
Why
we're
are we
here to talk
Adam?
about demons.
Oh,
shadows.
Shadow in the realms. Perhaps. Anyway, as I said, this is the Orville podcast rewatch, whatever majiggy. And this is that's the official name. Actually, we're going to change it, and we're going to be discussing tonight Orville season 3, episode 2, Shadow Realms. We just finished watching this, or at least I did. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that these episodes are like longer.
They're now an hour, instead of the 40 some odd minutes, 44 minutes.
Yeah. So I got to budget my time better, but
yeah, I had the same problem too. I literally went from finishing the episode to running downstairs and getting set up. So
I watched it last night, but you're right; they're longer. Whoop, are you guys there?
Yep.
And and we got some cussing now. You know, we never had the swearing before.
No,
was there a lot of swearing in this episode?
No, there wasn't a lot, but it was noticeable.
Okay, I never noticed that.
Talos swore.
We're getting an earlier fun fact from Adam.
No, that's just.
If there's cussing involved, he's happy to hand those out early. So
yes, but of course, I always have my faithful crew, the crew that I would take a bullet for, kind of, probably not. But anyway, of course, we have producer extraordinaire. That is right. It of course is the Dave Mater.
Yes. Well, I'm still human. Hopefully, I don't get sprayed with a spore or something.
So. Yeah. You know what the problem is? Every time there's a spore and you get sprayed with it, it doesn't end well. Like, doesn't matter what sci-fi series you're in, doesn't end well.
It never turns you into an amazing, like, cooler guy.
Remember Jody when he was all like blacklight?
Yes. Well, this episode very much like the Next Generation episode. What's it called? Genesis, I think is the
the one where they all.
This is the one where they all devolve.
They all devolve, yeah.
No,
different species.
No, that's a different one. The one where Geordi gets turned in. I'm thinking of the one where Geordi gets
Identity Crisis.
Identity Crisis, yeah.
That's Identity Crisis. Okay, so I was thinking of Identity Crisis, I guess, but it's like kind of like Genesis in a sense that it's got that horror movie vibe and people getting transformed. I guess
this was a little scarier than Genesis. Like you had the comedic factor in Genesis in Next Gen. The only scary person was Worf.
Yeah.
What about Barkley?
Yeah, Barkley was pretty badass too.
Nah, but Barkley was just still skittering around. He wasn't chasing anybody.
What about Caveman Riker?
He's dumb.
That was pretty comical, actually.
What about Weird Fish Troy?
She wasn't scary.
She wasn't scary. Yeah, that's true. And of course, we kind of just started on our tangent here, but I didn't even finish my intro yet. We have to talk about Adam. And his mic diagnostic skills. They are fantastic.
It's a new machine. It's the new year. Come on,
Jordy.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm offended or not.
I think I just gave you the finger for the first time too off here.
As he did.
I'm not sure that's the first time because being me, I get the finger.
No, that was my first time giving you the finger. I know it was.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations. You're now with many, many others in this world. Including Dave.
Adam's more like an admiral type. He's not like an engineering type. He's not going to know how to work the machines.
But anyway, our first impressions of this episode. How do we feel?
Well, I think I'm mostly positive on it. I guess there's always that thing I have when I feel like I've kind of watched this episode on a different Star Trek show, but not quite,
Oh, yeah.
So but it's different enough that I think it works. I think that the tie-in with Claire's ex into this admiral is interesting, kind of.
Has Claire dated everyone in the damn universe at this point? Like, we keep getting storylines about her.
It's only 2.
Well, do we know who the kid's dad is, though?
Donor.
I don't think it's ever mentioned.
It's they do. They explain it's just just a random donut.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're. That's why one reason why they don't look the same either. So.
Oh, they're biological half brothers then.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they might be, right? Because you'd have to.
Well, different ages, Dave. So I'm going to go with probably.
Probably okay.
I don't claim to be a scientist or anything, but
Right, but I think that's explained at some point. Yeah, but I guess giving her an ex-husband and this particular character is interesting. I think that who plays this admiral? I feel like I know him from somewhere, but
Paul Christie, Admiral Paul Christie.
That's the character, but Paul Christie played by James Reed, and I feel like he's like this actor I should know or something. American actor. He played the role of George Hazard in the North and South television miniseries.
Oh, North and South.
I saw that.
That was Jonathan Frakes was in that.
Jonathan Frakes was in that, wasn't he? Yeah. He also had the recurring role as Victor Bennett on the Supernatural series Charmed.
Never watched that.
Never watched it.
Yeah, so I don't know. He's I guess he's not mega famous or anything, but he's done a lot of TV work over the years.
Oh, he was also on 252 episodes of Days of Our Lives.
He played Jack Olson in Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman. I'm guessing that's a Jimmy Olsen's dad or something.
I would imagine,
So I don't know. I feel he's an actor. I've seen things. Yeah,
I think Dave actually watched Days of Our Lives a lot. He just doesn't want to admit it.
Is that the one Jane watches?
No,
Young and the Restless.
Young and the Restless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on, gentlemen. Adam, how do you feel about that? This whole episode.
Hey, Norman. Hey, Sam. How you doing? How do I feel about this? This episode was great. Aside from the Paul Christie Claire thing. But you know what? That didn't last too long. That whole.
But I feel we could have trimmed this episode down 15 minutes without a problem.
I think that they're now on Hulu and they just go along. They got swearing going.
Honestly, if you didn't point it out, I would have never noticed it.
Yeah.
I assumed because it was a Fox thing, they had swearing on it anyway.
Listen, I like episodes like this. I like the horror factor, like people being chased. I gotta tell you, there was way more crewmen changed over than I would have thought.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't really give us the impression of how quick, but it was pretty quick. The graphics, the makeup or whatever was really good. Yeah,
during that
makeup, the special effects I liked. Them jumping up on the ceiling and whatever and running.
How do you feel about the enemy base though? The enemy base felt very paper mache to me, but
inside it
was
did.
Interesting. I thought.
The other thing, Jody,
and the pumpkin butts. The pumpkin butt things. Yeah.
But you're right. Don't look into freaking flowers ever or pods.
Okay, so here's how we could have made this episode 5 minutes long. All right. This is exactly how we do it. We send Isaac over. Problem solved.
This is why you don't send admirals and captains on away missions, by the way.
Yeah, shouldn't do any of that either. We learned that from Star Trek, but we never actually learned that.
I think it should be standard procedure that you have to have your environmental suit on.
That was the second thing I was going to say. No matter what the environment is, you shouldn't be in it without knowing exactly it.
But they're like, oh, there's a breathable atmosphere.
It's breathable, it's fine.
We don't have to wear helmets. Isn't that better?
But the other thing, guys, is once they start talking about an expanse, we've already learned our lesson about expanse.
Yeah, the minute it's an expanse, you don't go in. It's just that simple. That's like a stop sign. You know what I mean? Once you see that expanse thing roll out, there's no good expanses. What's a good expanse, guys? Anybody remember one?
The one in Enterprise? The Delphic expanse?
That's the one I'm saying don't go into.
Yeah, don't go into that one either. That's where all the sphere builders are.
You might find a planet of Old West people, won't you?
Oh, that's true. You could. And let's be honest, that's even worse.
That Vulcan crew that turned on each other.
That's true. The Vulcan zombies. I forgot about that.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into it, boys. What do you think?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So here we are. We obviously have our obligatory external shot to start the episode.
Yeah,
as we always do.
like I gotta tell you, when I'm watching these episodes, like the music and like the special effects is loud,
Yeah.
you know, and then like compared to like the dialogue where
the sound balancing seems to be a little off.
So I'm turning it up when the dialogue's on, and I'm turning it down when it's like space and music and stuff. I find
you should check your TV. It should have a setting.
Maybe
for
I should. Maybe it's a me problem, but
well, no, probably not. But anyway, so basically, Mercer walks in on this board meeting, so to speak, and basically says, "Hey, we're gonna go meet up with the Krill. We're trying to negotiate a line through their territory to get to this expanse because we want to explore."
That's what we really are, Jody.
It's what we really are. We're explorers. And everybody seems okay with this until he says the admiral's name that's joining them from
Admiral
the starbase.
Christie.
Admiral Christie, exactly. And this is where Claire gets a little and the only one who picks up on this is Tala.
But she doesn't really. She picks up on it, but she doesn't do anything with it.
She doesn't do anything with it. She's just like, "You okay there, doctor?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just didn't get a lot of sleep last night." And then, of course, we buzz out. So then we show up. We see Claire in her office. She's going through some notes. And sure enough, the handsome admiral shows up.
Is he that
Christie? No. But I'm trying to set the mood here.
Well, he's not Victor Garber handsome.
He's no Victor Garber, that's for sure. or Ted Danson for that matter.
Or Ted Danson, yeah.
But the good
or
news
Ron
is
Canada. Don't forget about Ron Canada.
Ron Canada. No Ron Canada either. You know what? They basically said, which admiral can we kill off? And it turns out it's this one.
Yeah, the one will bring it. He'll be a one and done.
One and done. You're never coming back, by the way, sir. But anyway, she's like, "Oh dear God, this guy." But we don't really know until we find out a little bit later.
I love it. Like her reaction. They made you an admiral.
They made you an admiral.
No one's as surprised as me. Yeah,
no one's as surprised as me. And he's basically like, "Yeah, I know. I'm here, and I'm not surprised that you've done so well in your life, and blah blah blah." And then we kind of get the impression that they have a history. He's like, "Okay, well, see you later."
And we find out that he's her old professor.
He's her old professor, but also they were married.
We don't know that yet, though.
We don't know that yet, but
not yet in the episode.
I know I'm skipping ahead, but what do you think he taught?
I'm guessing probably not medical, because if we look at he's just got the standard.
I don't get the impression he's a doctor, so
he's not a doctor. I can definitely tell you that.
Ethics, Dave.
Ethics.
I'm not sure ethics applies to him either, but anyway.
He's like dating his students.
Students.
We kept it hush hush, but nobody was buying it.
Yeah, we kept it hush hush for the entire last
semester or whatever.
Entire last semester, yeah. But anyway, we see that they end up docking with the Krill ship, and our title card is there, Shadow Realms. I'm always impressed whenever I see these Krill ships. They always look really neat. They basically look like Romulan, yeah. But I just like the design. But anyway, they're having a social gathering, so to speak, and the Krill are like, "Why do you do this?" And they're like, it's a way to like kind of unwind and relax a bit before the tough stuff happens. And
we had John Fleck is back, Silic from Enterprise.
Yep.
As this Krill guy, Krill ambassador.
He's the one on the left, right?
Yeah. The minute you hear him talk, you're like, "Oh, it's
He's like, you don't intend to go there, do you?
You don't intend to go there. There are
Jonathan. Are we going to have a problem, Jonathan?"
Oh, wait, Rug Show. But anyway, and we see Bortus, and Bortus is like kind of like going through all the like catering stuff, and he's like, "Ew." Which is weird considering they'll eat pretty much anything. But then the Admiral has this little, kind of toast to everybody, basically saying, to our new agreement, hopefully it'll, bring peace among our people and blah, blah, blah. And the Krill are just like, "You're going to die. You're going to die so bad." But they're not saying
that. They're like, we'll celebrate when this alliance is over and we've defeated the Kalon. We don't want to be your friends. We're just working with you.
We're just doing this because we have no other options.
Right.
So they have this big, engagement or this party here, and you got 2 Krill. That's it.
Yep.
Well, they're not going to bring all the Krill over.
They should have.
Think of the catering costs.
They're like, these are our godless people who feed us weird drinks.
These are all godless people. Yeah. They don't want to be around them. So the thing I'm surprised about is I didn't see Dan at all here. If you're having a mixer, Dan should be there.
Well, somebody's got to be on duty.
Just saying. But anyway, so Kelly, actually, I guess I didn't capture it, but there is a scene with Kelly and the doctor, and the doctor grabs a bottle of wine. She's like, I'm leaving. You coming? She's like, yeah, okay. And then she gives Mercer a cup, and Mercer's like, I'll just put this in here and I'll drink the whole thing.
I'll stay here and give myself cirrhosis.
Yeah, I'll give myself cirrhosis. Yeah. So anyway, these two basically have this little, girl talk session, which they seem to do every so often.
Jody, I was married.
I knew that, Adam.
Jody, I was also.
You're still married.
Yes.
Dave has also been married.
And I'm still married, but I'm married.
And you're still married, but to a different person.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Well, I've been married. Yes, but yeah, it is weird to me that
she wouldn't know this. Like,
I get wouldn't this be in her personnel file theoretically?
It would, and they've been on board now 2 years together, or 2 seasons.
Well, it's been is 3
years wise, it's been 4 years.
3 years, at least 3 years. In terms of them being together as a crew.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting that this is all because I don't think they had planned this part for her character at all, but they decided to.
I think they just kind of threw it in. Yeah.
When they wrote this episode, they're like, well, what if she used to be married to James Reddy or James Red or Reed?
Reed.
Yeah, like I don't know, and I don't hate it in this episode, honestly. Like, I think that they both do a good enough job with it, but it's also kind of like why, too.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of those aforementioned scenes that I said that you could easily cut this episode down by 15 minutes and we would need it. They don't need like 3 minutes of girl talk where literally they're talking about the exact same thing. So anyway, we get to see the two of them. They're now at the negotiation table. They're like, are you going to let us do it? And the Krill are like, yeah, sure. No problem. What are you planning on doing? Oh, well, we're going to go into that expanse thing, where all your demons are that your Bible says about. Well, and they're like, yeah, no, you're screwed. Don't go in there.
Yeah, well, like that's basically a paraphrased version of that conversation where they're like, tell us about this expanse, and they're like, you're not gonna go there. They're like, if you want to go there, but we're not gonna save you if you go there.
We're not helping you at all. Don't ask.
And they're like, these Krill, they're a bunch of religious fanatics who could how can you even trust what they're telling you, right? Because they're like, it's just written down in the Ankara, the Bible, and therefore they just accept it. But that some Krill have visited there, we're told, about a century earlier.
100 years ago.
Yeah.
100 years. There you go.
Crazy. So they kind of maybe stay away for good reason.
Yeah, and then we get the tale from the Krill basically saying, oh well, there's nothing but soul-sucking demons there, and don't go. And they're like, yeah, no, we're gonna go anyway. And I love this part. This is great where they're about to leave, and the Krill starts talking in his own language, and he's like, "What was that?" And he's like, "Oh, that's just a prayer.
That's a prayer for people who are about to die.
For people who are about to die." Like so subtle. Yeah. And he's like, "Okay, we're leaving now. Before you guys decide to take us with you." And they're like, "Maybe this is a bad idea." Now, this is where things turn, and it turns subtly, but it does turn. If you notice, Kelly through the entire episode is like, we shouldn't be doing this. Like, let's not bother going. And Mercer's like, yeah, we're going. Right.
Well, the next conversation with Admiral Halsey, I guess, is kind of that debate, right? Like, how much should they take the warning seriously or not? And it seems I get the impression that like Kelly's more on the side of caution here than I guess Ed and the Admiral are.
Well, I think she is a lot of the times where Ed usually will just grab Gordon and go, hey, let's go do something stupid. So it's.
This is an unexplored region of space where they can't call for backup. They can't, there's
nothing near them.
Nothing near them.
No other ships can go in.
And the Krill are like, we're not coming to help you if you go there.
And the Krill's like, you're not letting anybody else in either. Like, you're not sending 6 ships through our territory. Like, you got 1 ship, that's it. Right? So it's like. So,
well, they also wanted a homing beacon put on their ship too.
Yeah, which we never saw, but we assumed they did it. because
so
they said they were going to.
So there, I guess like how much of this is just like superstition and myth, and how much of this should we take seriously? And I guess they end up going with, well, let's find out. Let's roll the dice and see how this goes.
Sorry, I was just checking continuity there for a minute. All right. Turns out the view screen, they got that one right. All right, good. But anyway, so we then see Mushkas again, which is
no Will Sasso.
No Will Sasso, though, because, you can't pay for him to be on the set every single time. But anyway, we see the doctor, and she's just, having what appears to be some sort of lunch or dinner. And she looks like she's going through some notes on her pad there, or her big crystal slab of illuminated something. But anyway, and sure enough, here comes the Admiral. And he's like, yeah, just so you know, still got my wedding ring. I wear it all the time. Which
it was very awkward. Like
this
Claire
whole
doesn't
scene is
want
awkward.
him there.
Yeah. And she makes it pretty clear, but
he says to her, is there anything feelings left? Like 25 years. Holy crap, that's a long time.
Yeah, she's had 2 kids.
Yeah.
She's served on, Union vessels and all this stuff. And it's like, this guy just shows up and he's like, so you still got feelings, eh? And she's like, no. Took me a long time
past
to
it. She's not interested in rekindling this, even though he is. He's still holding a torch.
Which, let's be honest, if this was Star Trek, they probably would have ended up being together for a little while. There would have been some sort of relapse or something, because that seems to happen all the time.
There's also a lot of episodes where there's just like somebody's ex comes through for one episode.
There's lots of those, yeah.
Captain Kirk had a few that came through.
Picard had some too.
Cisco, not really, but he was, kind of a different story. Cause
he got all the runoffs, though. He got like...
He had a couple.
He had like Vash show up.
But Cisco was a widower, and then he eventually gets together with Cassidy Yates, also played by Betty Johnson.
Yes.
But yeah, I'd say it happened. I don't know, like
what was the commander that Commander Darren that Picard fell for too?
Oh yeah, the scientist lady.
Yeah, or the keyboard player.
Green shirt. Yeah. Green shirt. I think, if I remember. But anyway. So anyway, he explains that he always brings his wedding ring whenever he's on away missions, which apparently doesn't happen very often because he said earlier that he never gets out. He's always behind a desk. But, whatever. But anyway, she's like, yeah, no, I don't really have any feelings. And he's like, okay, well, see you later. And so I guess he was trying to get a hookup, but it didn't happen.
There was like, an intended commercial break here or something, right?
Yes.
Between the scene and the bridge scene here where he's... I honestly thought that I mistakenly went to another episode or something.
So I had a similar experience where I'm like, did my media thing just die or something? And then all of a sudden it showed up. And then I'm like...
So if you remember, this is the scene where Kelly asks him to like give some kind of speech. We're going on a mission.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we've been on lots of missions.
This is unexplored space.
This is unexplored mission.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This isn't just taxiing around, taking everybody everywhere. God. I do like the shuttles, though. I think the shuttles.
The new one, I like the new shuttles better, too.
Yeah, the new shuttles are definitely nicer. Yeah, and they have way more viewing screen. Like, you can really see out there on the new ones.
The old ones just felt like miniature versions of the Orville. These feel like their own things. So yeah, I like that too. So
yeah, but basically Mercer's like, yeah, we're going somewhere.
They've done better on that part of this than Star Trek, I think, because they're so boxy in Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything feels like it can be like stacked in Star Trek. You know what I mean? Like they were... how many of these shuttles can we stack over in the corner there in Cargo Bay 2? 6, okay. And then how many will fall on Wharf? Who knows? But anyway,
we're starting to move away from that with like the Delta Flyer, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And we never got to see the captain's yacht on the D, so...
No, that's true. We did see it on the E, but...
We did see it on the E, and it had the Argo as well.
Yeah.
I love the Argo.
Ugh. All right, let's move on.
And I can't remember what the joke was during this.
He was gonna write a speech and whatever.
Well, no, he said something at the end of the. Oh, and may the force be with us.
May the force be with you. Come on.
Yeah, that was pretty lame. But she's just like, this is why we're not married anymore. All right. Anyway, she's like, you're a loser. Anyway, and then Charlie talks, which I'm not sure why we need to, but she does. But anyway, I hate that.
They got 66 minutes to fill here. Joe.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
They can throw a few lines to her.
Yeah. So anyway, we then see Isaac back in the science lab thing that he hangs out in. And I don't know how I managed to capture that many of those, but anyway, we see the Admiral shows up. And he's like, yeah, no, am I interrupting you? And he's like, yes.
Well, I thought the scene between Isaac and the Admiral was good. I thought because they're both basically Claire's ex, and they kind of have this bond over it.
Mutual bond over it. Yeah,
they both miss her. But
also Isaac's interaction with him makes Isaac realize that he needs to check in on her later.
Yeah. The other thing I like about this Admiral is that, after we came off that previous episode about how the entire crew has all this hostility for Isaac and the Kalon, the Admiral doesn't have that at all. He's like, yeah, I heard you helped out during the battle. Good on you, man. And like he's got a completely different attitude.
Praises them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's basically like, did you find her spot? He's like, no. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway. But basically they talk about how and there's one part where like Isaac's like, yeah, we had you guys have the same this and this, and he's like, and also she likes these sexual positions, and this is when the Admiral decides to stop him.
I would have liked to hear that part.
I'm not sure I want to, because I bet you Penny's into some freaky crap. But anyway. Whatever.
It would have been interesting for the Admiral to go, she wasn't into that 25 years ago.
So. Oh, I'm glad to see she's still that limber, something like that. But anyway, we now, get towards a nebula here, which I thought was pretty nice to look at. Pretty cool. Isaac starts spewing off the fact that there's, 45 habitable planets or something like that.
But no life forms.
Not a single life form, not one that even Mr. Tricorder could find.
Mm-hmm.
So
life forms, little life forms. None of that. Which is another, I would say, a red flag.
Yeah. If you have all those inhabitable planets just sitting there, and there's nothing there, there's a good chance one of two things has happened: either they never developed life, or B, they developed life and it's been completely wiped out. So
right. Well, and this is the other side of Krill space. For all we know, the Krill have killed everybody, right? So
yeah, you don't know.
There's a lot to mystery here, but then they get a distress call from the Expanse part, right? Like the dark place.
Because the Expanse is just past this nebula. They're on the edge of the Expanse, basically. Well, close to the edge of the Expanse. But anyway, so they go towards the Expanse, and Charlie makes this accurate representation to say there's no stars. Which to me would automatically say, black hole, don't go in. But I guess that's not what that is. But anyway, it is what it is. And even Mercer is looking like, no stars? That means trouble, So it's like, but I did like their little, it's hard to see on this, but basically they transition from a starry sky to just complete nothingness all in one shot, which I thought was pretty cool.
I think they do that well. I mean, even in Enterprise, when they went into the Expanse, it was like it was all like a warp, as the ship warped.
They kind of warped in, yeah. Whereas these guys just go into dead space. That's all it is.
Voyager did 2 episodes kind of like this, where they went into like an area that was no stars and.
Yeah, that's the one where they got stuck in it the one time.
Yeah, and there was another episode very similar, but they don't get stuck in there per se. It's just like this region of the Delta Quadrant that has no stars, and it's going to take them 2 years to get through it. And by the end of the episode, they end up. Coincidentally, Brandon Braga was the showrunner, or kind of was a high up writer over on Voyager. So I feel like he just likes this idea of a part of space.
Ideas, yeah. It almost reminds me a bit of where Silence Has No Lease, or whatever it is, the episode where the Enterprise gets stuck in that.
True. Coming up in our Next Gen Season 2 reviews.
I was trying to give you a little bit of a segue there.
I appreciate that.
But anyway,
Thank you.
no problem. But anyway, they arrive at this what appears to be a space station of sorts. Pretty ugly looking space station. But you know it's red, so you got to go.
It looks
like it's red. Like why are you even going to it? It's red.
I would just like I think like the Orville like missed an opportunity to go. That looks scary. We should leave.
Yeah. But anyway, they're like, yeah, no, we'll go down there. Blah blah blah. So they're going because Bortus told them that there's a thing. Now, when your opening thing looks like this is when you run. You don't go in. Why are you going into that? Does that look inviting to you?
This is very horror movie-ish now. We've switched genres.
Yeah. This is Alien right here. Like this
does go full like meta wise. It admits that like we're going into a horror movie. Admiral Halsey says if you were to go into that house, I would tell you not to go in it.
Even when the damn thing's open, you're like, that doesn't look like fun.
So it looks like you're about to be swallowed up by hell itself.
It almost looks like Omicron from the Transformers movie. For anybody old enough to know what that is, but anyway, Adam knows. He pretends, but he knows. But anyway. Omicron.
I just watched
planet-eating planet thing.
I just watched. Have you guys seen that horror movie? Nope. It's
yes.
You know, like I feel like this is like a Nope moment where like you know,
100%.
Yeah, you're like I'm not going in there. Like are you like or I'm not like even when you were at the wide shot before when you just looked at this station, you're like nope.
So anyway, they go in, they land, and then they come through like a kind of a corridor area, and they're looking at the walls, and Claire says like these walls look biological, like which obviously is an instant sign you shouldn't be there. Like
we're also told that it's made of like an alloy, but it's kind of organic. I kind of agree with your normal assessment or your earlier assessment, Jody, that said that this was kind of. I think this is the most disappointing part of the episode for me because I feel like this set inside the station looks, I don't know, like it belongs in an amusement park or something.
It's right up there with Farpoint Station. It is so boring to look at. There's nothing going on. Like it, I don't know. And then later on, when we see the things on the walls, they just to me look like that somebody took like glass pumpkins and put them on the wall.
It's kind of like the Rainforest Cafe vibe or something going on here. Like it's just
for all we know, they shot it in that.
Job on the outside of it, you know, to get the feeling that it's not.
Well, that's the difference between a set designer and a CGI artist.
Yeah, I agree that like outside it looks really scary. Inside you feel like I don't know. This is kind of like
Tin Man too. I was always like
Tin Man, yeah.
Right, but Tin Man wasn't trying to be scary. Like this is trying to be scary, you know. And so
I don't know. It's like a bad Dr. Seuss set or something.
Yeah, and Lamar eventually comes across this pod thing, which is emitting. This is the thing that emits the signal. Mm-hmm. Now, at this point, if you have this pod thing in the middle of this, and it's emitting a signal of a distress call, why the hell are you still here? At this point, it's like, oh, this is a trap. Like, come on. Anybody else falling for this? I'm not.
I feel like there's a few, like, you know, they're trying to be explorers and, you know, hope that they're not having scary and trying to get them, but this is scary and trying to get them.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, it is what it is, I guess. What can you do? Anyway, here we go into the pumpkin room, which to me just looks like the butt end of pumpkins. Stop me if you think I'm wrong on that, but I think
but yeah, like I see what you mean. I didn't think pumpkin right away, but
yeah,
I think like more like weird flowering buttholes.
Yeah, flowering buttholes works too. You know, not as flattering as the pumpkin, I guess, but what can you do? Anyway, they scan this thing, and Mr. Admiral Genius over here decides, hey, I'm going to put my face in front of that.
He never saw Alien.
He's never saw anything.
Right. This is, but yeah, I guess what the point of this is also that this could have happened to any of them. Really.
Yes, absolutely. You know? Yeah, he just happened to be the one that got it first. Right. So, but anyway, the butthole decides to sphincter itself going here and shoot something at him really quickly. I couldn't even catch it. It was that quick.
Well, it's supposed to be like microscopic or something, but
yeah,
you're not.
Yeah. I couldn't see it, but anyway,
good reaction. Ooh.
Oh,
what lovely perfume you have, madam.
but even at this point, when you look at him now, like his eyes are already bloodshot.
Yeah,
So
it's changing him almost immediately.
Yeah, so it's like they should have kind of clued into this. Now, does the Orville have the same idea that they have where on the Enterprise, where when they show back up on the ship, they have to do a medical scan or some sort of?
I don't think they mentioned decontamination, but I don't think that they don't like. They obviously don't use transporters, so they don't have like that biofilter.
Yeah, but they don't even do what Enterprise did when they put them in a room with the light.
And have everybody slap gel on each other while they're in.
Go into that room and be sexy.
You know what? That could have worked on this show, though. But anyway, what can you do? So anyway, they're looking at the way the station is and all that, and they're.
Ooh, I didn't catch that before. That's very arachnid.
Very, yeah.
Well, we find out that these are basically like spider people by the end, right? So
yeah, they're almost. This is almost like, to me, this makes me feel like this is almost like a Starship Troopers type of thing. You know, but
want to know more?
Yeah, want to know more? Mm-hmm. Join the Union. Want to know more? Yeah. But anyway, and of course, our admiral just all of a sudden like completely goes haywire, and something's growing out of his forehead.
This was cool. Like, this was great.
The makeup on him is fantastic.
Even in the this all was happening too. He's got the eye coming out now. He's got a tooth over here.
The scenes though on the bed here, these are just gross. They're so awesome to look at.
Yeah.
And even this isn't too bad when he gets, when they go back to him a little bit later, it's like he's got like little fly hairs coming out of him and weird stuff. Very flyish.
Yeah, it does remind me a little bit of like The Fly, the movie, Jeff Goldblum and all that. I think that's the thing I kept thinking too was like he's clearly sick. Shouldn't there be like quarantine protocols and like,
considering there's a whole bunch of people standing around him right now.
Right, and like Claire touches him, and we find out that this thing gets spread by them like shooting out the stuff out of their mouth and whatever.
He's not wearing gloves or anything.
No,
this definitely the pre-COVID world.
But they were making this.
This was after COVID.
No, but they got shut down
before.
Yeah, this would have been filmed before COVID happened.
Okay. I bet they learned their lesson on that one. Anyway, they decide that they have to go back to the space station to get a sample of the thing that shot him in the face to see if they can figure out what's going on.
In Biohazard.
This time they did what they were supposed to do the first time around, which was, be responsible.
Another thing there is like when there's mist on the ground and you can't see the ground, wear a suit.
You know what? Yeah, exactly. It's all you need is a little red laser to start like buzzing around and stuff, or green laser if you're in Aliens. But what can you do?
Like, I think this is just one of these things they do for TV because, like, I think in reality, I think like astronauts would wear their suits, as precaution more often than not. But on television shows like this, it's the other way around. It's like
Star Trek did it all the time too. Like it's not new to this franchise. No. But anyway, so they go back, and I like this little thing where she literally like holds out this basically a vacuum canister, and she's like, "I'm waiting until it sprays me," and sure enough, it does. And she gathers a sample, and then they're like, "Okay, well, we got our sample now." So the minute they showed me this guy, I'm like, this guy's gonna die.
But he's somebody we know. We've seen this nurse character
this guy before,
a bunch.
Yeah. Now this effects makeup is fantastic. I bravo. Chef's kiss. Great job. The one thing I don't know if you guys noticed is on his neck, it was like throbbing back in and out. They had some sort of like animatronic that was doing.
They had a lot going on in this face. First of all,
there was a lot going on.
4 eyes. Yeah. Then you have the tooth over here.
He's got the little tooth coming out. Yeah.
Then you're right. That bulbous growth thing that was disgusting.
Yeah, there it is. There, I tried to get a shot of it when it was out. Yeah, but you can kind of see it right here.
Paul, I promise you're going to live. Okay, once you say that, he's going to die.
Oh yeah, the minute you said that, you promised him. Now you're dead.
She promised she would save him too, but
yeah, that didn't work. Well, she technically did save him.
All right, well.
I guess not in a way that he probably would need. But yeah, even like his hands are fucked up now, right? But then they have to show us the ring, obviously, because that's. But we also see that she's wearing a ring at this point, so maybe she's decided. I'm not sure if that's her normal ring or not.
Very interesting ring, right?
She has, she has like a hinge ring. It's weird, yeah. But anyway, the makeup's fantastic. I much better than the black light that we got from Identity Crisis.
Yeah,
not that wasn't good.
It's like 30 years later too, right? So.
True. Yeah, you would expect them to get that one right. But anyway, so then these three now have the sample in their hand. So I guess the sample container is like very secure and it doesn't let out any spores or anything.
Or doesn't have anything on the surface of it.
They have a freshness seal.
Okay, but it's not going to all go into that canister. Some of it's going to be on the outside of the canister. Like, how do they wash that? But anyway.
I don't know. They're not the most concerned.
Yeah, we recommend a decontamination protocol when we show up. And they're like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. And it's like, well, maybe you should have did that a while ago. But anyway. So then we get the next scenes in the medical office. And sure enough, the bed where he was is no longer there. Claire's like, where the hell did he go? Now, don't they have biomonitors or something? Wouldn't have it just like automatically said, hey, there's no heart rate anymore?
This is an immediate ship-wide security emergency.
Yeah, this isn't a let's go walk around because the lights are out. Like,
well, this is before the lights. This is before the lights go out. But the admiral goes off and then like turns off all the lights and the dampening field and whatever. But even like the second that they know that he's missing, they like
they don't go into lockdown or anything.
Yeah.
Well, there better be a big investigation after this. Like, why wasn't he put into quarantine? To your point, why wasn't he put into a forest field?
Why was your chief security officer off ship?
Yeah,
that's what I want to know.
She didn't need to go on that mission.
What the hell is she there for? Now later on,
where did the captain by any week?
Yeah, right. Well, typical. But anyway, so all of a sudden the lights go out, and I do apologize for the screenshots. It's going to be hard to see some of these things because I tried to get ones with decent light in it. But we see the engineering bay. I love how the core shuts down too. I thought that was pretty cool.
So listen, something occurred to me last night watching this. They really don't have a lot of problem in the engineering area like in Star Trek. Things seem to pretty much work down there.
Yeah, everything just works on this ship for the most part.
There's no antimatter containment problems.
Yeah, and they don't have like gates that come down because the fucking thing, springs a leak every 5 episodes. Or...
I think their propulsion works differently. They don't have that like risk factor.
Maybe
of antimatter. So,
but it would have been great though if they had done just that. The door that drops in Lamar.
You have Lamar going, come on, everyone, get in. Like Jody used to do.
Move.
And then does the roll.
We got a coolant leak.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we need your brother for that one though, Dave.
Coolant leak. Yeah.
We got a coolant leak.
I might have him somewhere. Let me see if I can rustle him up.
It's fine. But anyway, we basically get they're gonna send Isaac and Bortus are gonna go try to figure out what's going on here, try to secure down the ship as much as they can. And here's our nurse again, who will most likely die shortly. But anyway,
off his own.
Yep. He's looking around. Blah blah blah. I loved how they shot this, though. I thought the way they shot this was quite well done. Very, very minimalistic. I like that. I don't like a lot of shit going on in the scene when you.
This
got
was
that kind
very,
of stuff
very alien-like.
Oh, 100% alien. Yeah, for sure. But anyway, so then the nurse finds his clothes. The one thing I did like about it is the clothes are inside out, which is the way it should damn well be.
But
every time in shows, you always see them, and they got like the outfit is like completely normal, just like on the ground.
And Jody, because I know you like alien movies, this was very reminiscent of the when they shed the skin, and he's touching it, and it was great.
Yeah, I'm not sure they did that intentionally, but either way, it kind of came out like that, which I thought was cool. And you see some blood and stuff as well on it, or some sort of goo. Anyway, you don't really know what it is, but. At this point, like, this guy should be like, I'm getting the hell out of here. Like, I'm not hanging out. And then we get to see our first look at, well, I guess this is the Admiral, this one, because this is the first one, right?
He's patient 0, yeah.
Yeah, he's patient 0. But
the Krill were right.
The Krill were right. Yeah, there's some damn demons over here. So, but anyway, so we get a nice little external shot again. This time with obviously no power to the ship, except for external lights. But those external lights
That's
are
from the shuttle.
from the shuttle. Yeah. So I did have to stop there for a second to go, why is there lights outside? And then I'm like, oh yeah, shit, the shuttle would have.
And the station's also generating light.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, they do a manual docking procedure. They dock on one of the clamps on the side, which we've seen them use before when they're on what's his name, Isaac's home planet. They use the same docking doors. So anyway, they end up going through. I don't know why I have a black screen here. I'm guessing maybe that was the scene. But anyway, we see Claire, and Claire's looking for her children at this point, which apparently they were told to stay in their quarters, but they clearly never do because these guys are always somewhere they shouldn't be. So anyway, she's still trying to find them. Now we see that her kids are now in medbay looking for her. So clearly this is a case of they missed each other somehow. And in a minute, we're about to get a Jurassic Park type moment. But before that, we get to see them trying to fix it. Mercer shows up with Tala, and he's like, yeah, we figured out what's going on here. And they're like, yeah, no, we're trying to do this. Now, does anybody think that this battery joke was funny?
No.
A little.
The first time, maybe, but they said it 3 times.
Like you're doing, it's more like telling somebody they're doing it wrong is more the joke. And just her reaction to it, I guess.
Her reaction's just like, why are you bugging me? Like, shut up. I'm trying to do this. Well, you're clearly not doing it right. But anyway, a little bit of mansplaining going on, I guess.
I guess that's the joke. It's mansplaining, yeah.
Yeah. So, but we've also know that now this is very reminiscent of a lot of the Jurassic Park scenes, especially the 2 kids that are hiding from the raptors. Almost like some of the shots are almost identical too. Like I'm sure this was done on purpose. But basically they hear the sound. They can see the shadow of one of the creatures lurking. At this point, we don't know which creature this is. It could be the Admiral, could be one of the ones that he's already turned. But anyway, they're in the mess hall and they're now who didn't clean the mess hall?
Everybody, I guess.
People eating when the power went out and they all left?
The one thing I find confusing is that when the ship is like always full of people, and most of the people are where exactly? Do they all go to their quarters during this whole crisis? Because the ship feels like dead and empty.
It feels barren when everything happens like this, right? Like there's not too many people around.
So the mess hall is just an example of that. Like everybody left.
Yeah, but Marcus and Ty basically they get into trouble. They're looking around, and this guy who I don't know who he is.
Lieutenant Woodson.
Oh, is that Woodson? Okay.
Yeah.
And what do we know Lieutenant Woodson from?
Nothing. He's new.
Okay, fair enough.
He won't last. Don't worry. Don't get attached.
Okay, I guess I won't. But anyway, so he's like, yeah, no,
I'll take care of you.
Yeah, I'll take care of you. I'll find your mom. Let's go. And then he literally turns around, and there is one of them, and they crawl on the ceilings, unlike some other alien creatures that we're aware of. But anyway, and they also spit goo at you.
This was great.
I was so happy when I got that shot.
and how fast the transformation is, and right in front of them. And
I was
like,
get as much of the transformation. Oh, these things are so menacing looking. It's great. Yeah, but like, look at his face. His face is already getting like, and we find out later that the spit one is like a much faster version of the spores.
Yeah. Like this was a great special effect. Really so scary, great horror stuff. Props to them.
Yeah, this was fantastic. So gruesome. And these are screenshots all within like 10 to 15 seconds of each other. Like it's and even Ty's like, wow, you're gory looking. And so anyway, they look over at the guy looks over at Ty now, or the alien, I guess. And he's like, I'm getting the hell out of here. And as they run out, they run into Claire. And there is no real mention of the fact that they just saw that guy get like destroyed. Like they
do mention it, but like
they mention it, but there's not much going on after that. So anyway, we get another external dead shot, and they all end up at the bridge now, and Ty and Marcus basically say what they saw, and these guys are like, "Wow, that's fucking disgusting." All right, great. So anyway, and she's like, I bet you I could make something that could reverse this if only I could get to sick bay. And she's like, I'm going to go to sick bay. Kids stay here. Now, that seems to never happen with those kids. But anyway, I guess this time they will. So anyway, Claire makes her way down. And during this time, Lamar's looking for a device that's causing the dampening field. Because the dampening field is stopping communications on the ship. Stopping a lot of things. Including phaser fire, apparently. Because they said they can't use any weapons when the dampening field's in effect. So I guess maybe that's a security measure as well. I know on the Enterprise A, they had the ability to detect fire because they talk about that in Undiscovered Country, right?
It would, like, based on all the like science fiction episodes we've watched, it does seem prudent to have maybe some kind of a hand-to-hand like weapon, like maybe like a nightstick or something for these like something not like a sword, you know, because they're still not trying to kill people, but something you could fight with.
Something that you could fight in close quarters if you had to.
And when the power is out, which happens frequently in these types of things.
So basically they're looking for it. Lamar comes across something that he thinks is the problem. He then tells Isaac, who I guess can't fit in the corridor, so he doesn't bother going in. Or I guess he's the lookout. I don't know. Either way. So anyway, he figures out that this is what's causing it. He's like, I can restore backup power. So he restores backup power. The lights start coming on. Now, the one thing, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but on all the displays, everything was dimmer in a different color.
It's because they only have minimal power. That's
why. So I guess it affects their displays or something too. So that's kind of neat. I thought that was a nice little touch. But yeah, because if you see like all of his controls are now like a light, like they are normally this color, but they're a lot more vibrant. Mm-hmm. So it's like I thought that was pretty neat. Also earlier, which I don't know if you guys noticed, when Mercer was flying the ship, I forgot to mention it. When he was flying the ship, you can see him touching buttons on the console and they're lighting up. It doesn't look like a special effect, so I'm wondering if somebody actually created the panel that they can just touch and then it would light up wherever they touch.
Maybe, yeah. Like it's just like a touch screen that doesn't really do anything.
It doesn't do anything, but like it reacts to their touches, which I thought was kind of cool because it didn't look like it was CG'd. If it was CG'd, they did a hell of a job on it because I looked at it for a little bit there and I was like, that looks like a practical effect to me. But anyway. So anyway, they got some minimalistic power going on. So Lamar's still trying to figure out what's going on. And sure enough, one of these things show up in the access panel area here, which of course we know that was going to happen anyway. You know, once you have somebody crawling in a confined space, there's going to be an alien there. Like that's like Alien 101 right there. But anyway,
the one thing with this chase was that I'm like, is it like I'm no Spider-Man or whatever this thing is, but you know, it seems like it would be more practical to chase him on the ground, on the floor, than to chase him on the ceiling. But because you still got to deal with gravity, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. Like, I guess if you're a Spider-Man,
well, if you're
as good as the floor,
a fly alien hybrid thing, I guess you could do that. Now I do apologize. Some of these running shots are probably pretty terrible. But anyway, he's basically trying to run off. He ends up like scolding him or something with this thing, which gave him enough time to go up the ladder. He then runs down through a corridor. And he runs. I thought this was smart. I've never seen this before. He runs into the brig and turns on the fucking field. He's like, they can't get me because I can't get out. Right. So, and you see them and they're bouncing off of it and they're trying to play with it to see if they can get past it. They clearly don't know what it is. I did notice, I don't know if you guys did, but the different aliens actually do have different facial features, which I thought was kind of neat. Like they all have the same generic stuff, but like some of their heads are wider, some of them are longer, stuff like that. I thought that was kind of neat.
So they have like faces, basically, I guess.
They have faces, yeah, and some of them have teeth that are in different spots and stuff like that, which I thought was kind of cool too. But anyway, Tala hears them and she runs in. And she basically distracts them. She's like, hey, assholes, come get me, basically.
She didn't say that. There's another. She said it twice.
What'd she say?
Hey, assholes, come get me.
Is that what she said? Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. But basically, she then runs. They chase her, which doesn't really help Lamar that much because he's still stuck in the cage.
Well, but they were pounding on the force field, so I guess maybe they could have got through eventually. But
maybe, yeah. So anyway, but Tala opens up a can of whoop ass on them in the cargo bay.
I like this fight a lot. Although, like, it seems like she could get sprayed with this goo any second. She was quite
I'm
risky.
surprised they didn't just start spraying her. Like, why didn't they just?
They tried, but like
they tried once. But
I don't know. Like maybe it takes a little bit of effort to shoot a load. I don't know.
They have to get aroused first.
Maybe, yeah. They can't just go, So
they got to have some fun.
Is there no romance in this?
There's
these
no
spider
romance.
people.
You know what? No dinner, no nothing. Just straight to it. But anyway, so she kicks the shit out of these guys, which actually makes for a joke later on, which I thought was really funny. But anyway, so basically these. I think she's being attacked by 3 of them.
Yeah, 3 of them.
One of them joins the fight in the cargo bay, and then the other 2 follow her in. So anyway, but she ends up beating the hell out of all of them, which that's what you want in a security officer. Imagine if we had the other one.
Well, she could have probably.
Same race, she could have done it.
She might have. But anyway, Isaac is then walking down one of the corridors, and he can hear Lamar.
This is a great moment where like the monster like walks right up to his face and
up to him, and I guess the monster figures out that he's not biological. So
but
I can't do anything with him.
Yeah, so there's kind of like this weird, awkward pause, stare, and I don't. Is this meant to be the Admiral? I guess maybe it is, right? So
I don't know. I guess maybe they don't really tell you if it's the Admiral.
Because if it is, there could be that familiarity. I guess that
could be. It could also be that this race knows who they are. Isaac's people
know who the Kalon are, you mean?
They know who the Kalon are, yeah. So maybe that's why. I don't know. They don't really explain it. But I'm not sure this is the Admiral, though, because I think the face is a little bit different.
All we know, I guess, for sure is he wasn't one of the guys in the cargo bay that was fighting.
He wasn't one of the guys in the cargo bay because he still is, walking around and stuff. But anyway, Lamar is very excited to see Isaac because Isaac's like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll open this up. First, Isaac asks him why he's in there, though. I would have liked a joke there where, like, well, who locked you up? I'm not allowed to just let anybody out. That's against protocol, Something like that would have been kind of funny, but what can you do? But anyway, they're like, yeah, Claire says up and she says, this would be a lot easier if we could get one of their bodies or something and I can kind of figure out how they tick. And Tala's like, that's not a problem. I got this. So anyway, she's got one of the bodies that she decided to beat the hell out of. And just as this happens, they find out that another ship is on its way there. Now, the one thing I like that the Orville does that the other ones don't seem to do is the Orville uses still images when they're looking at something really far away. Have you noticed that? It's not actual video. It's like basically like little snapshots that move around every so often, which gives you the impression that they can only like see so much at one time.
Well, we are told this is 10 million kilometers away, so
yeah, something like that. Yeah. So anyway, here's Claire. She's trying to figure out how these things work. She then figures out that she can just give them essentially a virus because their immune systems aren't really developed yet. And the virus of choice, she's like, well, we'll just give them like the cold or something like that. And then Bortus is like, well, how's this going to affect everybody else in the ship? And she goes, well, you might get some sniffles. And he goes, I can accept that.
I am prepared.
I am prepared for that. Yeah. But either way, good old Bortus line there. The space, you know what? That station looks cool from there, but the inside, not so much. But anyway. So she goes up and says, yeah, no, we can use this, but why don't we talk to the Admiral first and see if maybe I can get through to him, which is always a bad idea in sci-fi. I'm not totally sure why they ever do that, but they do. She's like, yeah, I could probably get to him. And Tala's like, okay, well, I'll take you over there. Let's go. So her and Bortus go over with their rifles again. And sure enough, they run into a couple of them, even going towards the bridge, apparently. Because that looks like the same staircase that goes to the bridge, but I could be wrong. There might be more than one spiral staircase, I guess.
I was surprised how many that were transformed, though.
Well, we saw how quickly they transformed, though. It would make sense.
Yeah.
How many? What was the total count? How many people?
Did they say it? I don't think
know if they said it. Did they?
Well, it seems like there's at least 4 or 5 or 3 or at least 4.
Well,
right?
I would say at least 6, yeah, because you had the guy that was in. Well, I guess some of them could be copy overs, but I would assume based on the fact that it only takes about 15 seconds to transform into one of these things, it probably is pretty quick to assimilate a whole ship.
Yeah,
I would say so.
But it seems like actually the number is very low.
Well, right now, yeah, but this all takes place within like a 30-minute time period, though. I think, based on the impression that I got, but
I lost track of time with all the computers off.
Yeah, that's true. Nobody has any clocks, so they have no idea what time it is. But anyway, so they end up going, they find them in, I guess this is in another cargo bay.
Right, because they scan for the Admiral's wedding ring, which he's still kept, even though he's been divorced from her for 25 years. And,
yeah, but it has a rare element, which I'm almost positive I've heard this exact same thing before somewhere else, but I can't remember.
Selayan Moonstone or something like that.
Yeah, Selayan Moonstone. Yeah. But anyway, so they end up finding something that resembles it, and they're like, yeah, shuttle bay or cargo bay 5 or whatever he's in. And sure enough, when we look at his hand, he's got the ring. So obviously that one's the Admiral. So at that point, Claire is like, yeah, remember the good times and all that? Oh, yeah. But anyway, we're going to kill you unless you leave. That's basically the ultimatum.
And it can understand, or the Admiral can understand her language.
Yeah, this alien species can understand basic language at this point, which I guess is part of its development cycle. God damn, that thing's ugly. But anyway, it looks so good, though.
As handsome as ever.
As handsome as ever.
Admiral Christie.
Yeah, poor Admiral Christie. I guess he's gonna have to give up his command at this point, eh? Probably.
Well, he might have to retire early.
Yeah, might a little bit. But anyway, they're like, yeah, no, we're gonna end up doing the gas if you don't leave. So they turn on the gas, and some of these little buggers are starting to feel it. They're being affected by it. And at this point, they decide to leave, basically. But we don't see them leave. We don't know how they left.
That was weird.
Did they just throw them out of an airlock or something? Like, what did they do? Like,
yeah, here's a shuttle, guys. Go.
Yeah, like, did they give them a shuttle? Did they just like pop them out into space, or like, what did they do? But anyway, we don't get any of that. We just get another Mushka's scene, and this time Isaac comes in, and Claire is sitting there.
I missed you.
Yeah, and he's basically, I missed you, so and so. And he's like, yeah, no, I just wanted to check in on you. And she clearly is like, oh, well, that was nice, so to speak. And then I don't remember what the last lines were, if anybody remembers that, because at that point I was kind of packing up stuff. She says something to him, though, and that's kind of how they end it. Anybody remember?
Yeah, I thought it was just, I missed you, and he sat down.
Was it? Oh, maybe it was. Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, she tells him to sit down, and he sits down, and then it kind of fades from there. And then that's the whole episode. So, gentlemen, how do we feel about that?
You know what? I think it's a pretty decent episode, if you can call it that, because, the fact that this thing is so long and it's not really meant for like to be played with commercials, it kind of feels like a little mini movie to me in some ways.
Yeah.
But like I just evaluating it as like a standalone story, an installment in this, it's good. And I think that the whole, I had forgotten how scary the episode kind of is. So
yeah, it's definitely not your normal Orville episode. By far, but you know what? There's always a good side to every downside, Dave, in life, usually. Mm-hmm. And the one that we have is
knowledge is power.
That's right. And it's time for Fun Facts with Adam.
Fun Facts with Adam. Fun Facts with Adam.
Ooh, all right, let's go. So this is approximately 66 minutes in length, including all credits, but no commercials, Dave. This episode is only 4 minutes shorter than the last episode. So right. It's now.
So I don't need to budget myself an hour and a half per episode for the rest of the season. Is that
going forward? Because I was like this. Like I sat down and go, "Wow, we got an hour and 6 minutes to watch." Yeah. Okay, this makes it the second longest episode in the series history.
Okay. Well, that means they can't get longer, at least. So
well, they can. So,
but we've already done the top two. We've already done the top 2 longest episodes.
Oh, you're right.
This one.
Right. Yeah. In the bonus feature Inside the Orville Shadow Realm, included on Hulu, writer and executive producer Brandon Braga states that the idea from the episode came from the question, "What are the Krill afraid of?"
Yeah, because we don't really know what they're afraid of. They're warmonging people.
Godlessness.
God is literally the only.
They're
thing
afraid of
really
Avis. They're afraid of their own inferiority complex.
Yep. Director John Cassar describes the episode as being designed in a horror movie aboard the Orville. The horror movie aspect of the episode is inspired right from the film Alien. In the series, species known as the engineers genetically engineers different species with a biogenic fluid that dramatically changes the DNA of the species. The engineers were creators of the Xenomorphs, the mainly antagonists in the Alien franchise. Aspects of the Alien franchise can be seen in the transformation of Paul Christie into an alien. Yeah, we all saw that.
Yeah, it was gross and it was awesome.
It was great. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
As a big alien guy. In keeping with the Union's admirals, Admiral Christie is named after Ralph Waldo Christie, a U.S. Rear Admiral who commanded submarines in the Australian theater in World War II. I never knew that. I mean, maybe it's not him, but Seth MacFarlane was a World War II guy.
He is a big war guy. Yeah. I remember him talking on Graham Norton about it.
Okay. He's remembered for his tendency to alienate his superior officers by awarding medals without necessary permissions. And his insistence on using torpedoes that had been approved ineffective and embarking on dangerous combat missions during the U.S. Submarine War. Dave, you mentioned this earlier, but the episode pays homage to Jerry Goldsmith's work on Alien as the Orville approaches the abandoned space station.
The score?
Yeah.
Specific? Oh, okay. I didn't.
Yeah, I felt that too.
I'm not an Alien fan like you two, so
that's unfortunate.
Lost to me.
Maybe you should be.
I've tried. It's
yeah. The general plot of this has elements almost identical to the movie Alien. While in the remote area of space, the crew receives a distress signal, which turns out not to be the case later, and find a large apparent abandoned ship. Never seen before. One of the crew examines something. It opens like a flower and attacks his face. Even the alien creature is very similar with menacing teeth, can climb walls, can climb the ceiling, sprays green acidic liquid. Yeah, it's very, very, very similar. That's why we liked it so much, Jody.
Oh, I liked it. Yeah.
Well, I liked it despite those things.
Despite.
And
this is also very similar to Star Trek Next Generation Identity Crisis, where Jody exhibits signs of...
No, Jody does. I don't.
Did I say Jody?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I called you him. Anyway, Jody exhibits signs of mutation.
Go!
Yes.
It's probably my impression of Jody earlier that set you off, though.
Coolant leak!
Coolant leak!
When Captain Mercer gives a shipwide departing speech, he ends it by saying, "May the Force be with you," an obvious nod to Star Wars, the franchise.
Didn't need to do that.
So I guess that's about it. I mean, not a ton of fun. Oh, we got some more here.
Oh, I got one thing I just want to mention before we do ratings. I don't know if we saw a lot of Ty in the previous episode. I know we saw a lot of Marcus. Ty has gotten big too.
Oh, Ty's huge. Yeah. Yeah, they both grew in the 3 years that the show has had a hiatus.
Like not since Walt on Lost have I seen two kids grow so fast. So anyway. Just want to put that out there.
I agree.
Like these, they look like they should be ensigns, or maybe not Ty, but certainly Marcus is.
Marcus is tall.
He looks like he could be a cadet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, shall we do the ratings, boys?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. All right, we don't have Kevin today, unfortunately, but we do have Adam.
I'm giving
Adam, what's your verdict?
Solid 9.
Solid 9. All right.
I'm not as high on this. I go 7.5.
7.5, really. All right. We don't know what Kevin's is yet, but I'm sure he'll eventually provide.
It'll
that.
either be 10 or 0. That's how Kevin rolls.
No, he's not Davin. You clearly can see he's giving out 8s, 7s, and 3s.
And 3s, yeah.
So, couldn't be Davin. Now, if Davin was here, it'd be a 0. But anyway. For me, I'm going to go... You know what? I'm going to give it a 9 as well. I think it was a very solid episode, despite some of the stupidity of it.
When you say that Davin would have given it a 0, has Davin ever watched this?
No.
Oh, okay.
But he hates the Orville. Well, he actually hates Seth MacFarlane.
For indiscriminate reasons.
But, well,
that's a whole other conversation. Like,
we don't
the psychology of Davin's a whole... you need a whole textbook. So, like...
Okay. Let's not start that.
He's a very complex man, I guess is a good way to say it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that puts us at an average right now of 8.5 until Kevin chimes in and Murphy ever shows up for another episode.
Has Murphy ever showed up for one episode?
In the first season. In the first season, yeah. But he completely skipped the second season.
Yeah. Didn't come at all. But IMDb gave this a 7.2, so it actually rated this as a crappier episode than the last
Only slightly.
Episode. Only slightly. But anyway, with our
combined average, not taken an 8.5.
Who did?
IMDb.
Oh yeah, IMDb likes that episode a lot more than we do.
Yeah, so. We didn't like it at all compared to them. But anyway,
Adam was the high vote on that one. But,
yeah, our combined average is almost 8, which is
you know what? I should take that down. Anyway,
you're 7. You're retracting.
Yeah, take it down to a 5. I don't like it now.
You don't like it now?
Right. I got it.
You got it.
These episodes have become way better. These last 2.
Well, season 3 is definitely a whole other breed of Orville for sure. So a lot more.
Well, you can see, obviously we didn't love how the season 2 ended, and so it seems like this beginning of season 3 is mostly engaging with us, to a varying degree. So that's good.
I will say there's at least one episode that's a stinker.
This episode,
don't ask me yet.
Was the last episode filmed before COVID hit?
Oh, was it? Okay, that kind of explains some things.
Is that a question or
no? It is. It's a fact.
Okay. He's telling you that.
Okay.
He's like, that is how it is, sir.
Got it. Well, Jody, what comes next? What's after this episode?
Well, Dave, I'm glad you asked. It is Mortality Paradox. The Orville crew discovers signs of modern civilization on a planet known to be uninhabited. This is actually a really kind of neat episode.
I remember this episode, and it's probably the best of the season for me. So
really, I'm not sure I would say the best of the season, but it was definitely a good episode.
This is the time travel episode, right?
I don't think so. You're thinking about the one where Gordon meets up again?
Oh no, then it's not that. No, this is the one where it's like a weird vacation video game planet or something or other.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, no, that is not one of the best of the season.
Yeah, that's why I was a little confused on what you said. But
so wait. You that's one of your favorite episodes. That one when he's
the time travel one. You don't like that one?
Okay.
This is a scene from it right here.
No, this is from This is from next episode, which is a different, not the time travel episode, right?
That's right. This is the next one.
But Adam doesn't like the time travel episode, is what he's indicating.
I believe that's what he has indicated. Yes, but it doesn't really matter.
We have different.
When we get there, we get there, gentlemen.
We get there. At least it'll be a spirited talk.
But you never know. It might be one of those episodes that Adam might rewatch and go, you know what? It's better than I remember.
Do we get to see the same scenes over and over again in this one?
In this one?
No, not this one.
Or you mean the one that you're talking about? No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, because it's almost an alternate timeline thing where she had like a family and stuff and all that.
All right. You know what?
Yeah, it's
open mind. Let's go.
Doesn't matter. Next week we will figure this out, gentlemen, and we will put a finality to that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
We
that's
sure will.
Word, but anyway. But Dave, what else do we have going on this channel?
Well, Jody, we just wrapped up Lower Decks not long ago. It's over. We still have a retrospective plan somewhere in the near future. But look out for all our Lower Decks stuff. That if you want to go back and hear our takes on any episode, totally there.
There's some good ones.
We're coming back for Star Trek: The Next Generation next week. We're coming back next Thursday. Season 2 is kicking off with The Child. So look, I got a great panel. It's an all women's panel. We got Jane, Ashley, and Heather coming in for that one. So.
I really hope they all just rip it, because I hate that episode. It is so bad.
We'll see. We'll get there. That's that show. We'll talk about it there.
I might have to be in the comment section for that one.
You can leave your comments. That's fine. And then of course we just did our radio theater, which was Star Trek Generations back in December. You can listen to the live version. Justin is working on the edit for the new version, so nice. Look out for that news soon. And this month, guys, Section 31. The movie is coming out, and we're going to be talking about that in about 2 weeks. So
is that on the 24th? That movie
comes out on the 24th. Yeah.
24th, yeah.
So probably talk about it on the 24th or the 25th. We still have to figure that out. So
I don't know. Based on the thing, I'm half and half right now, based on the trailers that I've seen. So we'll see how that goes. But you never know. She's a good actress. So
the trailers have not really told me much about this movie. So we'll see how it goes.
No, it's just I hope the actual movie is a lot more coherent than the trailer was. Let's put it that way, because I don't get any gist of what's going on by the trailer.
Well, by definition, it has to be. It can't be less coherent than the trailer, right?
Well, true.
Yes,
it can only go up from here, I guess, is what I'm saying.
It was a very quick trailer with lots of action shots. That's it. So
yeah, well, we said we liked that it didn't give away the entire plot to us. So we're gonna see how it goes.
True.
Yeah. Open mind.
I'm still looking forward to meeting young Captain Garrett, though.
Yeah, that's the mantra of today, guys.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, new possibilities, new horizons, even.
New horizons, even. Well done, Dave. Well done. All right. Well, I guess that wraps it for us. Hopefully we'll see Kevin next week. He unfortunately couldn't make it this week. So we, of course, miss him and mostly his mustache. But what can you do?
I think I'm going to be out next week, guys. So.
Well, we don't feel that much about you, but.
Okay. That's fine.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Well, the good news is now then you have 2 weeks to make sure your mic works next time. All right. Okay. Anyway, well, from all of us to all of you, live long and podcast, guys.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.